I don't think 50 theories was enough. We're going further today with a whole 100 theories. I know it's crazy, but y'all are gonna love this. So let's get right into it. I'm sure you guys remember Ursula, the sweet looking hitchhiker you can pick up as Trevor or Franklin. Well, it turns out she's way more disturbing than she seems. A total psychopath, much like Trevor. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm sure you've seen this unmarked grave on the mountain near the lighthouse. Well, there is a theory that says it belongs to Ursula's mother. Why? Well, if you spend time with Ursula, she mentions that the last person who, well, tried to touch her ended up dead. She even admits to poisoning her own mother. As a hitchhiker, it's not a stretch to think she might have buried her mom up there on the hill.
Where are we?
Don't worry. These mountains all start to look the same after a while.
Hey, can't wait to take out the spam files this week.
I come bearing more gifts.
Good to us, fella.
So you keep saying.
Okay, this one might just ruin your childhood, but if you have played GTA Vice City, I'm sure you remember the ice cream truck mission. You know, the one where you sell ice cream to the pets around the city? As a kid, I really don't find anything odd about it. It seemed like a fun little side mission. But when I grew up, I found that it wasn't really ice cream. Tommy was actually distributing drugs using the ice cream truck as a front. And that I think about it, I mean, yeah, that makes much more sense. Why would a gangster go out its way to sell ice cream anyway? Be honest, guys, I can't be the only one who actually thinks this was ice cream. We all know Nico has a disturbing past, and he came to America hoping to leave it all behind, drawn in by his cousin Roman's supposedly comfortable lifestyle. But as we go through the story, Nico opens up about his past, mentioning the war he was part of and how he did very bad things. Some players believe Nico might have actually killed kids during that war, because when Eileen of Austin asks him about his soul, Nico says a very disturbing line. After you walk into a village and you see 50 children, all sitting neatly in a row against the church wall, each with their throats cut and their hands chopped off, you realize that the creature that could do this doesn't have a soul. Was Nico talking about himself? Did he really do something that messed up? Let me know what you guys think. There's been many theories around alligators being spotted in the sewers in GTA 4. People claim they've seen them, some even say they've been attacked by one. And while there's never been solid proof, this theory might actually have some truth to it. In the game's internet, there's a news piece where someone claims they have lost their pet crocodile and are asking for help to find it. So all these wild hunts and sightings might actually have some truth to them. But is there undeniable proof that alligators do exist in GTA 4? Well, not exactly. Okay, this theory is literally wild. In GTA games, we've seen NPCs do some crazy things and put their lives in danger. Sometimes they jump in front of your car, other times run straight into the water, but it's mostly as their AI messing up. However, in GTA San Andreas, there are some NPCs like this camera guy who seem to deliberately jump into the water to end their life. Even in GTA 5, where NPCs have been seen to jump off from bridges, fans believe that AI in these NPCs have become self-aware, and they just can't take this bleak and crime-ridden world anymore. And that's why more and more NPCs are actually preferring death over living in a GTA world. That's really dark to think about. In GTA San Andreas, some fans believe CJ is being followed by a spy that watches him everywhere. Some say it's Mike Torreno because he works for an unnamed government agency, most likely the CIA, and he makes CJ do several missions for him. But during one mission, he straight up tells CJ, "I will always be watching you, Carl." Now, we don't know if he means this literally or just in a metaphorical big brother is watching kind of way, is unclear, but given he's a CIA dude with some shady stuff going on, it's not a stretch to think he might actually have CJ under surveillance 24/7. Now, there's been a lot of rumors about cryptid characters in GTA games, like Mothman, Slenderman, Bigfoot, and who knows what else. But probably the most fascinating and scary one is Ratman. Not only is he believed to live in the sewers of GTA 5, but in GTA 4, you can actually see some evidence that he's real. When you visit the underground sewers in GTA 4, you can find homeless people hiding under there, trying to stay off the streets and set up temporary shelters. But every once in a while, you will come across some homeless guy lying dead with blood stains around them. Since the player is usually the one doing the killing and not NPCs randomly killing each other, it's possible that Ratman is the one responsible behind these. Maybe these poor souls confronted him and paid the price. In GTA San Andreas, you can find a mass grave in Bone County in the El Castillo del Diablo area, where you can see these 5 black body bags. There are many theories around these dead bodies, with fans suspecting it could be the work of some shady serial killer or the Sindaco Mafia, whose members can actually be seen in this area digging up a hole. There must be them, right? Getting rid of their victims by tossing them into a remote area. However, here's another theory that suggests this could actually be the work of the security working in Area 69. These people might have tried to get into that area or might have seen something strange, and the security there had to get rid of them. After all, we've seen how they shoot on sight when you get near the place. Could the bodies be the result of a government cover-up? Who knows? For years, we have believed that CJ was 24 during the events of GTA San Andreas. You can even find websites confidently stating it, but there's no official proof or mention of CJ's exact age anywhere in the game or by Rockstar. Of course, CJ does look like he's in his mid-20s, so it's not a bad guess, but the theory is that the supposed age comes from his voice actor, Young Melee, who was 24 at the time of recording. Aside from that, CJ's exact birth rate remains a mystery. We all know about Amanda and her countless affairs in GTA 5, tennis guy, the yoga dude, Demon's teacher, and countless others. But don't you find it odd that despite all of that, Michael just keeps coming back to her? Some fans believe that Michael and Amanda are actually in an open relationship. This theory suggests it all started when Michael was caught with another woman while he was married to Amanda, and ever since then, they've been in a sort of unspoken agreement. All that drama and outrage whenever Michael catches Amanda with another man, it seems like a part of the act they've been keeping up. The other theory related to Michael and his family suggests that the real reason behind him always getting back to his dysfunctional family isn't out of love. I mean, he has a degenerate, entitled, self-absorbed son, a daughter who seems to be on track to follow her mother's questionable footsteps, and a wife, well, you know all about her. Why would Michael keep trying to reunite his family after all that? Well, some fans believe that Michael doesn't want to give up half of his property in a divorce and risk his shady FIB deal coming to light during a court battle. That's why he just keeps them close, letting Amanda live her life the way she wants, all while keeping things smooth for his own benefit. What do you guys think? Could that actually be the case? Remember the prologue scene where Michael gets shot and injured, but somehow the bullet doesn't kill him? In fact, he doesn't even bleed. This little detail has sparked a wild fan theory. What if Michael was actually shot with a rubber bullet? I mean, he had an agreement with FIB agent Dame Norton, so his death wasn't supposed to be real. So this rubber bullet theory actually makes a little sense. The Epsilon program, which is a parody of Scientology in GTA, has 12 tenets of Keflam that they follow. But some fans believe they uncovered a secret 13th tenet. This theory is based on a newspaper article found lying on the road, which reads, "Women outnumbered men by 2 to 1 in Liberty City." At the end of the sentence is a signature used by the Epsilon program to mark its tenets. The newspaper uses the same signature, which kinda indicates it's another one of Keflam's tenets, the 13th one to be exact. There are many characters crucial for GTA 5's story, but some fans believe it's actually Amanda's tennis coach, without whom GTA 5 wouldn't have happened in the first place. Let's entertain this theory for a minute here. It all begins with Amanda cheating on Michael with the tennis coach. Michael, caught in a fit of rage, chases the guy, who flees to Martin Madras's mansion, believing it's the coach's house. Michael tears it down, unknowingly putting himself in debt to Madraso. In that debt, it sets off this epic chain of events that shaped the entire GTA 5 story. So when you think about it, if Amanda's tennis coach had just stayed professional, none of this madness would have happened. In GTA games, we often hear random NPCs and other characters talk about how the government is controlling people's minds. The first character to truly believe this was the Truth, that paranoid hippie from San Andreas who always spoke in this cryptic way, saying that the government was deeply involved in everyone's lives. Another character who shares his thoughts is Marvin Trill, the host of Area 53. He claims it all started with the Genetron, which was GTA's version of a retro gaming platform similar to Nintendo. Marvin believes the Genetron was actually a mind control device that fed NPCs messages throughout the 80s to brainwash them. The diamond in GTA 4 has remained a pretty big mystery. No one really knows who it originally belonged to, but throughout the story, we've seen it change hands multiple times, and interestingly, every time someone possesses it, they end up dead in some weird way, which has led fans to believe that this diamond is actually inspired by the real-life Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond is known for its curse, with a history of bad luck for anyone who owns it. If you paid attention to Trevor's truck, you can see this beer attached to the front grille of his truck. The beer is Mr. Raspberry Jam, and he actually belonged to Floyd, the one who Trevor used to, well, sleep with. But Floyd's not the only guy Trevor molested. Some fans believe that this poor beer also became Trevor's target. If you look closely at the beer before and after Trevor had it, you will see it looks significantly more messed up. A questionable white stuff on the beer is also believed to be Trevor's doing. What do you think it did to Mr. Raspberry? Let me know. This next theory is definitely a bit out there, especially considering that we all believe Franklin's parents are dead. There's an old guy in Sandy Shores with the last name Clinton. He lives alone and mentioned that the war made him this way. Some fans think this mysterious man could actually be Franklin's dad, who abandoned his family after being unable to cope with the trauma of war. There are fans who actually actually believe that Lester is Zero from San Andreas, and the theory kind of makes more sense when you look at it. Zero was in his 20s back in 1992, and by 2013, Lester was in his 40s, so the timeline adds up. Then both these characters share a talent for technology and gadgets, with Zero known for crazy inventions that we see in Lester as well, although more evil, like that explosive device he used to take out Norse on live TV. I know, it sounds crazy, but not as crazy as Michael as Tommy Vercetti. I mean, come on guys. We've already talked about different theories around Trevor murdering his mom and dad, but some fans believe he has also killed his brother, Ryan. In GTA 5, Trevor has a conversation with the zombie cosplayer in Los Santos where he talks about Ryan, his brother. Trevor claims Ryan died in a tragic car accident before the events of the game, but he admits he's glad that Ryan's gone. He even says that the guy reminds him of Ryan, and the way Trevor talks about Ryan's death almost sounds like he's hinting it wasn't an accident after all. Violence and death has never been a big deal in GTA games. I mean, even the cops don't care much about civilians when they want to catch you, but there's a reason for that. Some fans believe that the healthcare system in GTA is so advanced it can actually revive people back from the dead. Now before you roll your eyes, think about it. You've all seen how those first responders in the game just compress people back to life in seconds, even if they've just been run over 100 times. You remember the cutscene at the start when CJ comes home after his mom's death and Smoke tries to hit him with a bat thinking he's some intruder? It was always kind of weird. I mean, what was Smoke even doing alone in the house? Well, some fans believe he was actually there to kill Sweet, seeing how the first attack on him failed. And with Sweet out of the way, Smoke could have taken control of the hood, likely with the ballers backing him up. But when CJ unexpectedly shows up, it throws Smoke off, and he has to come up with an excuse on the spot, pretending like nothing was wrong. In GTA 5, when we visit Grove Street, all we see are the ballers running the place, which makes us wonder what happened to the Grove Street families. Well, fans believe that after the events of GTA San Andreas, with CJ gone, they actually walked away from the gang life, and the ball slowly took over. Lamar mentions that some of them have even become CEOs of companies and stuff. In GTA 5, there's an abandoned mine shaft, which is already creepy on its own, but inside of it, you can actually find a dead body. There are quite some theories around it, but some fans believe that this body actually belongs to Cole Phelps from LA Noire, because his body was never found after it was swept away in that massive underground flood, and the fact that his body is also dressed in a way that resembles Cole's attire, and not something you would expect to see in GTA 5's timeline. There is actually another theory that tells us why shooting and killing isn't a big deal, and it's got nothing to do with medicine. According to this one, the GTA games aren't actually games, but movies being made within the GTA universe itself. Think about it. Everything is so over the top here. The insane action, non-stop crimes, ridiculous stunts, and the fact that you can just destroy everything in the city and still casually go on about your day. It all feels like a Hollywood action blockbuster, not real life. You remember the big score mission where the three protagonists try to pull off a massive heist together? When they enter the bank, they meet the manager who checks each of their IDs. Michael and Franklin pass through without issue, but when it's Trevor's turn, there's a noticeable pause. There's a theory that suggests the manager recognizes Trevor from the first prologue heist. Although all of them were masks back then, Trevor takes this off when he exits the car. His face is clearly captured on a security camera and shown in the news, so when Trevor walks into the bank for the big score, the manager might actually recognize him from that earlier incident. After Trevor brutally kills Johnny Klebitz, his trailer gets trashed and Ron tells him it was the lost MC boys seeking revenge, but some fans think it wasn't the bikers at all. Instead, they believe Ron was the one who trashed the trailer, using it as a way to vent his frustration towards Trevor. He then blamed it on the lost MC to avoid suspicion and make it look like an act of revenge. We've seen school buses, strollers, and all sorts of signs that kids exist in the GTA universe, but despite that, you will never spot a single child in the game. Well, not as pets at least. Sure, we know it's mainly because of censorship and policies and whatnot, but here's a more creative explanation. Some fans think that all the kids in the GTA world have been sent off to Boulevard Academy, the infamous school from Bully, to keep them safe from all the violence and crimes. This is actually pretty interesting to think about. Lamar has always been an interesting character in GTA 5, and unlike most NPCs, his movements and animations are quite like the main protagonist, and there's a reason for that. It's believed that Lamar was actually meant to be a playable character in the game, and he was supposed to replace Franklin at some point, probably after his death. This was actually kinda confirmed by his voice actor, who said Lamar had a more important role in the game, but due to some personal problems in his life, he couldn't work with Rockstar, and so the whole idea was scratched. Continuing with the theories about why crime is so rampant in GTA, Here's another interesting one, and is actually inspired by real-world events. Back in 1933, there was something called the business plot, a supposed plan by wealthy businessmen to overthrow the government and establish a dictatorship. While it failed in real life, this theory suggests it might have actually succeeded in the GTA universe. According to this theory, it explains why people with underworld connections or those in high places often get away with literally any crime. The theory suggests they have an understanding with law enforcement, allowing them to operate above the law without facing consequences. Some fans believe that every NPC in GTA is secretly being tracked by some kind of device. I mean, think about it. No matter where you commit a crime, even in the middle of nowhere with no witnesses, the cops somehow always know. The theory is that NPCs are implanted with health tracking chips as part of some shady insurance deal. These chips supposedly help lower medical costs for companies, but they also make sure the authorities are never too far behind. Speaking of Ratman, some fans think the infamous Humane Labs from GTA 5, the same place you raid during the monkey business mission, was involved in creating this mutant. The lab is rumored to test chemicals and experiment with dangerous substances, possibly leading to mutated creatures. This theory even ties back to GTA San Andreas, where the Psychopathic facility was believed to be researching a zombie virus. So these experiments aren't new to the GTA world, and Ratman might just be the terrifying proof of these experiments. Every GTA map is surrounded by water. Sure, it's a great way to make the world feel massive while keeping players from wandering too far, but some fans think there's a deeper meaning behind it. They believe Rockstar is symbolizing how the NPCs, and maybe even the players, are trapped in their own little bubble, isolated from the rest of the world, which fans believe is Rockstar's way of saying that Americans are somehow living in their own bubble, unaware of what's going on in the rest of the world. At the start of the game, we see this prequel robbery scene where Brad gets shot and dies on the spot. Well, there's a widely believed theory that suggests that it wasn't Brad who was supposed to die, instead the bullet was actually meant for Trevor. The idea is that Brad just happened to step in front at the wrong time, taking the hit Trevor was meant to get. There's even a line from Michael later in the game where he tells Franklin during an FIB mission that the wrong guy got killed, while talking about this particular heist. This isn't the only theory that suggests NPCs in GTA are becoming self-aware. Many fans also believe that they have become more angry and are out to get you. In GTA Online, NPCs have been acting like they're out to get you. They drive like maniacs, swear just to hit you, or even jump into you off the bridges. It's like they're tired of all the killings players cause and are finally fighting back. I don't know if that's true, but they surely have become more reckless and brutal. But we're still on the topic of GTA Online. There are many fans who actually believe that all the random updates and crazy stuff Rockstar adds to GTA Online are actually tests for GTA 6. The idea is that Rockstar uses GTA Online to see what players like and what works best so they can make the next game even better. It makes a whole lot of sense, especially with all these wild things they've added recently. Let's just hope they don't add flying bikes in GTA 6. Ever seen those movies where, after all the crazy events, you find out it was all a dream or just someone telling a story? Well, some fans think GTA 5 is exactly that, a story playing out in Michael's head during his therapy sessions. The theory suggests that Trevor is actually a representation of Michael's own psychosis, his troubles and fears, while Franklin is who Michael wishes his own kids would grow up to be: ambitious, hardworking, and loyal. I know how that sounds, but kudos to this Reddit guy who came up with this theory. Nico came to the United States to live the American dream, and while he did make it big in his own way, there's one thing he never truly owns: a car. Sure, he drives plenty of them, but if you notice, he never actually has a car that's illegally his. The theory is that this might be because Nico's an illegal immigrant, and there's a lot of red tape. For a world as unlawful as GTA, it's really ironic and funny how this small detail keeps it real. Trevor is, without a doubt, one of the most unpredictable and terrifying characters in GTA history. He's violent, short-tempered, and has literally no limit. I mean, we've seen the guy torture people or even stomp a guy to death. This has led fans to believe that Trevor could actually be a demon in a human body, and it's not just his personality. Trevor's special abilities make him almost invisible, triggering this rage mode that also enhances his attack, and when he dies, his body even catches fire. I mean, all the signs are there. This has been in the talks for quite some time now. Many believe that cops in GTA 5 treat Franklin differently compared to Michael or Trevor. The theory suggests that cops racial profile Franklin, often reacting more aggressively to him for no reason. There's been videos of players playing as Franklin and getting shot just for looking at the cops the wrong way. What do you guys think about this? Trevor going all wild is one of the most fun things in GTA 5, but fans believe that those aren't actually real, but all in Trevor's head, because during the rampages, no wanted stars ever pop up, even though Trevor kills people. And after the rampages, there's no mention of them in the in-game news, something that usually happens after big crimes in GTA. So could they actually just be Trevor's twisted fantasies? I mean, why not? GTA games are all fun and games until you learn about the dark parts, and here's one. If you visit Little Haiti, you can find Romer's funeral home, which seems normal at first, but head to the cemetery and you will find a human skeleton with one arm missing. Nearby, there is a butcher shop owned by the same Romero family. If you zoom in on the shop's display window, you will see a human arm for sale and a package labeled human organs for transplant. Fans believe this all points to the Romero family running a secret human organ trafficking operation, which is as creepy as it sounds. Rockstar and politicians have always been at odds, especially when it comes to controversies surrounding GTA games. Hillary Clinton was one of them. After the whole GTA San Andreas hot coffee controversy went viral, Hillary tried to introduce stricter regulations for video games, especially GTA San Andreas. So how did Rockstar respond? Well, they added the Statue of Liberty with Hillary's smiling face, calling it Statue of Happiness. But instead of a torch, she's holding a giant cup of coffee. There are many things considered to be a crime in GTA games, like hitting people, crashing into a cop car, pointing a gun at a cop, dealing drugs, but never reckless driving or speeding. No matter how fast you're going, cops won't bat an eye. Well, according to a theory, they're technically never breaking the speed limit. In GTA, time moves way faster than in real life. 2 seconds in real life equals 1 minute in game, and this means even if you're driving the fastest car at top speeds, it's still way too slow to break any actual speed limits in the game's world. If you're looking for more proof about this whole arrangement between Michael and Amanda, you should head over to the Hush Smush site, which is a dating platform in GTA 5. Here you can actually find what seems to be Amanda's profile with the username FoxyMama21, and while there is no clear picture, the bio is a dead giveaway. Husband ignoring and sitting by the pool all day, likes yoga, acts like someone 20 years younger, and this suggests that Amanda is still dating other men while married to Michael. GTA games have their fair share of unexplained mysteries, and one of the weirdest comes from GTA San Andreas. If you've ever driven through the countryside, you'll probably notice random cars rolling downhill with no driver inside. Some fans believe these are actually ghost cars placed in these areas to spook the players who wander around late at night, but there is a much simpler explanation. I mean, it could just be a developer mistake. They might have just hit the spawn point at the wrong position and the cars are simply rolling down because of the incline. I'm pretty sure that was confirmed too. After self-driving cars, let's talk about spy helicopters. In GTA 4, you can find helicopters that just hover in one spot forever, almost like they're stalking you. Well, some fans believe these aren't just random glitches, but actual spy helicopters keeping tabs on Nico. You can find them hovering near places like Union Drive or Algonquin, and they're often the Annihilator model, a lethal military helicopter. Fans believe that these helicopters belong to federal agents or some other secret organization, keeping an eye on your every move. In the intro scene of GTA Vice City, you can see a man stabbed and hung on the meat hook in the locker behind Sonny Forelli and Marco's Bistro. Initially, some fans speculated that this was Victor Vance, suggesting Sonny might have had him eliminated. However, that theory was debunked when Victor and Lance Vance appeared later alongside the Forelli family. Later, it was believed to be a nod to the movie Goodfellas, where a similar scene shows a guy found dead in a meat locker, so the guy was named Frankie Carbonet. This one is more of an interesting find than a theory. There's a billboard in GTA San Andreas advertising True Grime Street Cleaners with the cutting slogan, "Get rid of old rubbish fast." Fans think it's Rockstar throwing shade at true crime for trying to compete with GTA games. Rockstar's sense of humor is brutal, but you've got to admit it's kind of cheeky but also hilarious. Okay, this is pretty wild. In Tommy Vercetti's hotel room, you can find posters promoting adult star Candy Sucks films, but there's one poster that really stands out. It's for a movie called Ratatata, something featuring a character who looks just like Claude. I mean, he's wearing those iconic green trousers and a black jacket, and this has given birth to the theory that Claude might actually have been a movie star before he decided to join the life of crime. Remember Truth, that hippie from GTA San Andreas who was always talking about aliens and secret government stuff? Well, some fans think he's still around in GTA 4, or at least his legacy, because in GTA 4, Nico gets this email from someone named Chiliad8888 saying stuff like, "Feel the truth, love the freedom." There's even a link to a conspiracy website with a post from a user called Truth who writes about spiritual awakenings and hidden truths. I mean, that's exactly the kind of thing that Truth would say. In GTA San Andreas, TJ sometimes gets these strange phone calls, especially when you're near Area 69. But instead of someone talking, you just hear these creepy, buzzing noises. like some kind of monster trying to communicate. Some fans think it's connected to Mothman, who is quite a legend in GTA games, known to show up in mysterious places. Or could it be a distress call from the alien held captive in Area 69? I mean, who knows, right? During the time of GTA San Andreas, people were coming up with all sorts of crazy theories and myths, and it was really hard back then to figure out if any of them were actually legit. One of these wild theories was related to the killer cowboy, a random pedestrian who would often spawn in the countryside wearing a cowboy hat and a checkered shirt. He would carry weapons from knife to even rifle and would attack the player for no reason. Many players started reporting such encounters that it became a full-blown legend. Even the GTA wiki lists it as a proven myth. In GTA San Andreas, you can encounter these mysterious men wearing black suits armed with heavy M4 rifles. They often appear during Mike Torino's missions, and fans believe these are the men in black, you know, inspired by the movies, and they're responsible for keeping an eye on any alien activity in the country. They seem to be working for the in-game CIA, and during the stowaway mission, you can even hear them discussing aliens and stuff, which kinda adds weight to the whole theory. The Men in Black also makes an appearance in GTA 5. Found near the satellite dishes in the Grand Senora Desert, they also have this team of scientists with them, which suggests they are onto something fishy, and if you try to get close to them, they will get hostile and even start attacking you. What do you think they're trying to protect here? Mount Chiliad is the place for crazy GTA legends, and this one is no different. Some players claim to have seen an angel near the mountain summit in GTA San Andreas. They describe it as this glowing, cloud-like figure that appears right at the peak of the mountain. Sure, it could just be a funky-looking cloud, but it's strange to see one this close to the player. This angel could be tied in with the Angel on Rock, which is a strange rock formation that looks like an angel that you can find in Back O Beyond, but no one really knows what this thing is. What do you guys think it is? In GTA San Andreas, there is a man named Psycho in the game file. Fans believe it's some dude who was meant to be a street criminal, attacking and robbing random people. While there's no solid proof he has ever made it into the final game, some players swear they've run into him. They say he shows up out of nowhere, and as soon as he spots you, he attacks you with a knife or even a gun. Kinda like Killer Cowboy, but more hideous. Let me know if any of you have seen this guy down in the comments. During the prologue heist in GTA 5, everything goes sideways when a ton of police show up. But how do they know about the heist? Fans have been debating this for years, and one popular theory suggests that one of the hostages triggered the silent alarm. If you look closely at the cutscene, you will see the hostage sneaking a hand under the table right before things go bad. It's super easy to miss, but it's there when you look closely. GTA 6 is yet to arrive, but the theories are already running rampant. Some fans believe that Lester Crest might have packed his bags and moved to Vice City, and in GTA Online, after you buy his Darnell Gourmet Ferment Factory, Lester sends you a message saying he's retired to greener pastures. He mentions sipping a bottomless margarita while standing by the sea, and the attached photo shows him and Gorgina Sheng on a sunny beach. Fans think this sunny paradise could be none other than Leonidas Vice City. I mean, it could very well be another subtle hint from Rockstar. In GTA Vice City, some players have come across what they believe to be a super cop. This guy seems to teleport instantly to the player's position, busting them as they are trying to get away in a car or on a bike. Some content creators have managed to record the super cop in action, showing him pulling off this crazy move, but it's most likely just a glitch that could happen with any cop, although extremely rare. I mean, I tried to get some cop to do it, but never really succeeded. Cannibalism isn't new to GTA 5. This creepy old fellas called the Ultras cult, they seem to enjoy human meat. But what's interesting is that Trevor might actually be one of them, as in a cannibal. I know it sounds insane, but there are some subtle hints out there. There's this scene where Trevor offers Michael a bowl of creepy looking stew that Michael refuses to eat, pointing out there's something strange in it. Trevor says it's probably just an eyebrow, and then starts eating. After he's done with the stew, Trevor starts puking, which suggests it could actually be human meat. In GTA 5, there is a fortune-telling machine called Nassar Speaks, which is a cool little Easter egg referencing Madame Nassar from RDR2. But what you might have missed is a sequence of numbers it gives you during these interactions. It's basically a phone number that you can dial, and if you do, you will hear a woman pick up on the other end. Now, fans believe this mysterious voice could belong to one of Madame Nassar's descendants, who's keeping her legacy of fortune-telling alive. It's unlikely she could have lived for over 100 years after the events of RDR2. GTA 5 is packed with UFO and alien references, but here's one that's easy to overlook. On top of Bishop's WTF building, there's a weird UFO just sitting there. You might have spotted it before, but have you ever tried getting close? Well, if you do, you will start hearing this eerie alien humming sound. This has led fans to believe there's something strange going on inside the building. They think it's more than just a quirky decoration, and that Bishop's WTF is hiding some extraterrestrial secrets. The honest confrontation with Trevor in GTA 5 that led to his brutal death was really a wild twist twist to the story. Trevor literally crushed the guy's head under his foot, but a Reddit user claims that he was alive. There's even a video showing Johnny still blinking after Trevor stomps him, hinting that Rockstar might have left his fate up to us, because when you shoot him after that, the same kill effect that appears when the player kills someone appears. But don't think you can actually save the guy. He might be alive at the time, but canonically, he dies anyway. By the way, this is a really interesting one, but it was confirmed to be a glitch. Do you remember the time traveler guy from RDR2 who orders you to collect these mysterious rock carvings? Well, turns out he's not just a simple time traveler. There's a pretty fun theory that claims that he's not a human. Well, according to the Epsilon program, they believe everyone is related to everyone else, except for people with red hair. And if you have a birthmark, you may be a descendant from Croft, famous alien emperor of the 4th Paradin. Francis matches the exact description, even as the same birthmark is shown in the example image, which suggests he could indeed be an alien or the descendant of one. This would also explain his apparent supernatural time travel abilities. When you're driving as Trevor in his own truck, sometimes you can hear these strange conversations between people on the radio that don't play on regular car radios.
This here's Tinkle Genie. Busting the squirt out the window. Copy that. This is Porcupine Peak going south on the Sonora Freeway.
These can be secret conversations between military personnel or drug dealers, and this has led some fans to believe that Trevor is some sort of spy. But in reality, Trevor has this old CB radio from his days as a pilot in the army before getting discharged or, well, being Trevor. I have no idea how players find all these little details, but here's a fun one. If you check out Franklin's or Michael's house, you will notice a toothpaste with a logo that reads CJ's. This got fans wondering if CJ from GTA San Andreas started his own business after leaving the life of crime behind. After all, we saw his billboard in GTA 4, so it wouldn't be too far-fetched to imagine him becoming a legit businessman. But it turns out that CJ's toothpaste is actually a reference to GTA's senior artist, CJ Dick, who worked on various GTA games over the years. This one's pretty interesting, and it could definitely be true. In Franklin's aunt Denise's house, some players have spotted two mushrooms that seem like a clear reference to the Mario brothers. One is tall and green, while the other is short and red, mimicking Luigi and Mario's height and iconic appearance. Fans believe these mushrooms aren't random, but intentionally placed as a subtle nod to the famous video game duo. In GTA 5, there is an updated life and radar profile of Nico that suggests he's still alive and working as a cab driver and broker. This tells us Nico's gone legit and is trying to lay low. This, plus the fact that Nico and Roman mentions Vice City as a city to move out, has made fans wonder if they might reappear in GTA 6 with their own cab company. What do you guys think? Could that be possible? Here is another GTA 6 related theory, which actually comes from a former Rockstar Games developer who explains why Rockstar remains silent. According to him, it's part of Rockstar's tactics. They intentionally drop just enough hints and teasers to keep fans speculating and generating buzz. Take GTA 6 Trailer 1, which implied another trailer was coming, and since then, it's literally everything that the community is talking about for months. This way, Rockstar just has to sit and watch and not even spend that much on marketing, because the community is simply doing it for them. There are certain houses in GTA 5 where if you shoot at them, blood splatters from the windows, which is pretty weird. Some players have speculated that these houses might be linked to ghost or demon activity, giving the game a spooky vibe. However, it's more likely that these are just random glitches. In the Cayo Perico heist cutscene, we're introduced to this female character named Kaylee, and many fans believe she's a reference to real-life celebrity Kylie Jenner. For starters, Kaylee's name is suspiciously close to Kylie, and during the scene, Madrazo also mentions how she has more followers than the Pope. Definitely a jab at Kylie's massive social media presence. Plus, she's always glued to her phone, not really paying attention to what's going on around her, which feels like a cheeky nod to the real-life influencer lifestyle. One of these conversations that we pick up is actually pretty interesting. It happens between two characters, and one of them is named Eddie Lowe, which, if you remember, was the psycho serial killer from GTA 4 who goes around hunting pedestrians and then dump their bodies around the city in duffel bags. Well, this sparked a theory among fans that Eddie might still be alive, but the guy says that it's just a coincidence that he has the same name as the killer and that he's not the same guy. OG Locke, the aspiring rapper from GTA San Andreas, always dreamed of making it big, even if he wasn't exactly talented. Remember how he had CJ steal Mad Dog's album in a desperate bid to get his big break? Well, it looks like his dreams might actually come true sometime after San Andreas, because if you check out Franklin's crib, you will find OG Locke's own album alongside Mad Dog's. This suggests he did manage to launch his own album and became somewhat successful. Also, while we're in Franklin's home, Chrome, we can find this book titled Red Dead, written by Jay Marston. At first, many players thought it might be referring to John Marston from Red Dead Redemption, but we do know it was his son Jack who loved books and stories, and always wanted to be a writer himself, and it seems like he finally made his dream come true. Ryder's betrayal in GTA San Andreas always felt a little off. Unlike Big Smoke, who had been secretly working with the boss for a while, Ryder's switch felt abrupt and unexplained. Some fans believe this might have been because Ryder wasn't originally meant to betray CJ and the Grove Street families. They believe that Rockstar had initially planned for Ryder to stay loyal to CJ, but for some reason changed the storyline at the last minute. We know Michael was never in witness protection, and that it was more of an off-the-book deal with the FIB agent Dave, but some fans believe there is a much deeper conspiracy involving the Epsilon program. After Michael completes their final mission, unknowing the truth, the news reveals that the cult was involved in a car theft ring and even money laundering. Lester seems to know the truth behind the deal. He says, "I checked the witness protection program thing. It doesn't look like any WITSEC program I am aware of. For starters, they don't usually put witnesses in multi-million-dollar mentions." He even links the whole money laundering with the FIB, mentioning how a six-figure sum is being transferred into Dave's account every month from Michael, a guy who might be living in a mansion but with no explanation of where his income is coming from. Not day trading, of course. So yeah, this theory actually makes a lot of sense. We've talked about the theory that says GTA could actually be a movie, but here's an even crazier one that suggests GTA is set in hell. The theory goes that the player is being forced to relive their first actions over and over again, experiencing the punishment without an escape. Even Rockstar says so, not in so many words, but there's a billboard in Vice City with a sign that reads, "Welcome to Hell." During Michael's therapy sessions with Dr. Friedlander, Michael kind of blames the player for his reckless actions. He says that sometimes it feels like he's being controlled by someone else, implying that his reckless behavior isn't really his own choice. But we, the players, are making him do all these crazy things. In Los Santos Ocean, you can find a dead body of a woman with her feet tied to cinder blocks. It seems to be a similar Easter egg to Concrete Shoes murder like we saw in GTA Vice City. It's a classic mafia style hit, and the body appears to have been underwater for a long time. However, one curious Reddit user used a mod to bring the body to land and discovered something really creepy. The woman is actually alive. What's really funny though is that when he shoots the body, the NPCs simply starts walking back to the water. Remember the mission where Franklin saves a guy hanging from a tree with his parachute stuck in it? It was this dog that actually led Franklin to him. It's kind of strange because Franklin could actually understand the dog for some reason, and after the rescue, the dog just disappears. But then, in the mission Uncalculated Risk, the dog shows up again to try to save Tom before he jumps off the dam. Unfortunately, Tom doesn't make it, but this has led fans to believe that this dog was actually Tom's guardian angel. But what's really funny is that the dog says he's just bound to help Franklin, or else he doesn't give a shit. There's another theory tied to who this dog might actually be. Some fans believe this dog is one and the same that's featured in a family photo on the acceptthechaos.com website. Now on that site, there's a photo of a deadly accident involving a family with parents and kids, and a golden retriever dog that looks exactly the same as the ghost dog who tries to save Dom. In the Los Santos cemetery, there is a strange open grave with no body inside. When you look closely, you can find a pistol inside of an empty grave. Nobody really knows what it means. Okay, this might sound crazy, and yeah, maybe it is. But there's this theory from a YouTuber called Falls that suggests Lester might actually be working for the FIB, because how else could he just make the cops disappear after a robbery or a shootout? And he's also got dirt on everyone, knows every shady deal going on, and somehow has access to banks and all kinds of high-level systems. Sure, he's an amazing hacker, but maybe it's his connections with the agencies that let him pull off things that no one else can. Yeah, there are many plot holes in this, but it's a fun theory to think about. Many fans believe that Trevor killed both Deborah and Floyd after things got heated between the three. The time where Deborah pulled out a gun and Floyd pulled out a knife. They started threatening each other, mostly aimed towards Trevor, and then all of a sudden the screen turns dark and Trevor walks out all covered in blood, suggesting he murdered the two. But there's another theory that suggests Trevor didn't actually kill both. Fans believe it went like this. So Deborah shot Floyd as he had the knife and was threatening. Meanwhile, Trevor grabbed the knife from Floyd and then killed Deborah as revenge. By the end of GTA Vice City, Tommy Vercetti had solidified himself as the kingpin of a massive criminal empire. But what really happened after that? Well, it seems Tommy kept running the underworld, and during that time, his relationship with Ken Rosenberg fell apart due to Ken's cocaine addiction. Because in GTA San Andreas, Ken mentions Tommy cutting all ties with him and not even answering his calls. And judging from a post on Ken Paul's website in 2002, it seems Tommy's empire was still running strong in the early 2000s. The post from Ken reads, "See Tom, I didn't mention your name nowhere. Maybe you won't get us killed now. okay? Hinting that Tommy is still very much alive and in power. In GTA Online, there is a small treasure hunt quest which starts with the player receiving an email from vanderland@ifind.com, which I'm sure you already know is a nod to Dutch's gang from RDR2. Upon completing this quest, you get this double action revolver, which is said to be in the family for a very long time. Fans believe this means the email is from one of Dutch's descendants who sends us on this quest. While we are talking about legacies, there is another character from RDR whose descendants seem to be keeping the family business alive. I'm talking about the Sasquatch Hunter. This old guy from RDR2's Undead Nightmares DLC is sends you on this mission to track down Bigfoot. A very similar looking guy pops up in GTA 5, claiming that this time he's finally going to catch Bigfoot. It can't be the same guy, but it's entirely possible he's a descendant. There's this interesting video I came across where Franklin's receptionist from GTA Online is talking about some crazy guy who came into the agency asking for Franklin. Apparently, this guy claimed they used to work together, got all angry, and even threatened to make a shit on the counter. That definitely sounds like Trevor, right? I mean, who else could it be?
This crazy dude swung by earlier, dressed like a hobo, like really on edge. He swore him and Mr. Clinton used to work together. Got really angry when I said he wasn't available. I had to stop him from shitting on the desk. Seriously.
Now there's another theory behind these strange body bags, which is really interesting, you guys. Hey Rose radio station has a host named Mary Beth Mabel, who during one of her airings says,
There's one thing I believe in my marriages, it's Darwinism. Survival of the fittest. So far, I've buried 9 of the bastards.
she had 6 husbands, all of whom are now 6 feet under, and there are a total of 6 body bags in the grave. What makes this theory even more believable is that she herself lives in Boone County, the same place the bodies are found. She even mentions driving some sort of truck, which could actually be the abandoned bobcat we find near the mass grave. Could these bodies actually belong to her husbands? Let me know what you think. We all know Trevor survives the events of GTA 5, at least in the canon ending, which is C, if you don't already know. What has he been up to since then? Well, apparently, Trevor managed to turn his life around and became a lifestyle guru. Yeah, I know, sounds bizarre for someone like Trevor, but during the Smuggler's Run DLC, Ron actually mentions it. This DLC came out back in 2017, and by 2022, Trevor's old businesses have mostly been abandoned. The Fooligans gang has even taken over his old meth lab and warehouse. Oh, and Ron also reveals that Trevor left his residence in Sandy Shores and moved out to God knows where. Lester is known to keep tabs on everyone and everything criminal. He knows about Nico Bellic, he certainly knows about Michael's shady deal with the FIB, and even all the money laundering and other operations related to the Epsilon program. So how could he not have known that Trevor was still alive? That's because he absolutely did. Firstly, Trevor never tried to hide it, or lay low, in fact. He was building his criminal empire using his own freaking name. The reason Lester never brought it up to Michael is believed to be strategic. He wanted to keep Michael focused and under his thumb, ensuring his cooperation without any distraction or the risk of Trevor getting him derailed from his newfound lifestyle. I mean, after all, Lester's plans always have layers. We've seen both Trevor and Franklin make appearances in GTA Online, but not Michael, which raises a lot of questions. Where is he? What's he been up to? Well, where there are questions, there are always theories. Some fans believe Michael is still alive and enjoying his life as a movie producer. This theory comes from the signing the contract mission, where Franklin mentions knowing a movie producer, and many believe he's talking about Michael himself. But that's not all. During a bounty hunting mission in Online, there's a movie schedule with the title Sugar Tits Go Skiing, and if you remember, Sugar Tits was the nickname Michael was called during GTA 5's story. Fans think Rockstar hasn't shown Michael yet because they're saving him for GTA 6, where he could make a big return as a famous producer. That would be really awesome to see. Throughout GTA 5's storyline, Trevor slept with a variety of people and objects. Man, woman, or even teddy bear. For God's sake, ES doesn't seem to care. His mother, or at least a hallucination of her, even calls him gay. But fans believe Trevor isn't bound by labels. He could sleep with anyone as long as it brings joy to a lonely man. According to him, he was shown sleeping with Floyd, saying how he should spoon him next time. And on the flip side, he was also in a relationship with Patricia, which goes on to show he doesn't care about gender or race or whatever. This becomes much more clear when you visit Trevor's Life Invader page, which hilariously reads, and he holds a goal next to his relationship status. Amanda blames Michael for cheating on her with another woman, and it seems like a trait Michael could have picked up from his dad. While it's never explicitly stated, Michael hints at his dad's questionable past during a conversation with Franklin. He explains that he never really knew his dad and how his mother always came up with strange excuses for why he left them. This implies that Michael's father might have cheated on his mom, and that's why she made up all these excuses to cover it up, just so Michael wouldn't hate his dad. But it's pretty clear that his father had left his family for some other woman. It's no secret that Michael made a lot of money robbing banks and then cut a deal with the FIB to have a fresh start away from crimes under a new identity. To keep up this arrangement, Michael supposedly pays Dave a hefty sum every month to maintain his freedom. However, during the Good Husband mission, Amanda mentions how he's lost all his money trading stocks. Later on, Michael himself admits he's drowning in debt up to his eyeballs, and that he should lay off with the day trading, implying that's the reason he's in debt. This, combined with the other theory that says the payments to Dave actually comes from Epsilon, not Michael, makes a lot of sense, with Michael being broke and Epsilon having a reputation for manipulating influential individuals. It's not too far-fetched to think they might be involved in keeping his deal with the FIB afloat for their own advantage. You might already know that Trevor was a military pilot before his entry into a life of crime. Officially, it's believed that the military discharged him due to his worsening mental condition, while some fans think there's more to the story. Trevor has said it himself that he always wanted to be a drug dealer and a weapons trader, and given his position in the military, he had access to high-grade weaponry, which could have tempted him to start smuggling and selling those arms to criminals. It's likely that his superiors caught wind of this at some point, and they had no choice but to kick him out of the service. Could this be true? I don't know. During the mission Complications, Franklin is tasked with repossessing Jimmy's car for Simon. But just as Franklin is en route to deliver the car back to the dealership, Michael suddenly appears in the back seat with a gun pointed at Franklin's head, telling him to keep driving. There are tons of theories about how Michael ended up in the car, something he saw Franklin approaching and quickly hid in the car, but that doesn't explain how he knew Franklin was headed for the car. Others believe Michael was simply hiding from his family, but why would he be armed then? Well, here's my theory. I think Michael knew about the car's ridiculous interest rate because it was bought using one of his cards, obviously, and suspected Jimmy might eventually lead him to the guy from whom he bought the car. So he staked out in the car to follow Jimmy. But instead of Jimmy, Franklin shows up, unintentionally leading Michael straight to Simon's dealership. What do you guys think? Does this theory make any sense? Let me know in the comments down below. Trevor's love interest for Patricia was both odd and yet somehow fascinating. But fans think that it all stems from Trevor's mommy issues. For one, Patricia is much older than Trevor, and much like his mother, she's one of the few people not intimidated by Trevor, even after seeing his worst side. Secondly, she spent most of her life around violent and unstable men like her husband. She knows exactly how to handle someone like Trevor without provoking him, which is something most people can't manage. But really, the biggest reason Trevor is so drawn to Patricia is that she validates him in ways his mother never did. Trevor's mom constantly belittled him, reminding him that he wasn't worth anything. Patricia, on the other hand, offers him the emotional support and attention that Trevor always craved but never got from his mother. Either way, that was it for today's video. I appreciate you all for tuning in, and thank you so much for sticking throughout. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. See you in the next video. Bye.